This is the Silver Sun, Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we have an incredible table to show you. This is Nila Brown from Safford, Arizona, and the Morenci Mine. On this table here, we have about $120,000 worth of some of the finest rock available today. We will take you from the rough rock, which an expert here will show us how we cut it, how she cuts it, and how it becomes beautiful cabs in stunning, vibrant blue with a silver-looking matrix. What is that matrix, Miss Nila?
Iron pyrite, or fool's gold, is what they call it. And these three cabs right here are a really good example of the Morenci that has the iron pyrite, often looking like silver. Sometimes when it is polished, it also kind of has a goldish tint, so people often set it in gold.
Nila, how did you get into this turquoise business?
I married into it.
How long ago?
In 1979, I met the Browns and my husband Randy, and it's gone from there to me cutting and marketing this.
Great. So, when was the mine first opened?
Well, the actual Phillips Dodge copper mine was open in the early 30s. Mr. Brown moved from Texas to Arizona in the early 40s and went to work for Phillips Dodge. And around 1944, he became very much aware of the turquoise and started taking it out of the mine and getting it. There were no such thing as contracts at that time.
Really? So he could just pick it up and take it out of there?
Yes.
And this is your
Father-in-law.
father-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
And this is in what year?
1944.
1944. He just could go in, pick up any Morenci he wanted, and he
Yes.
did.
Yes.
And then where did he take it?
He went to Globe, and he met a gentleman, Waddell, Mr. Waddell.
Related to the current Gene Waddell?
Yes, his
Really?
father.
His father?
And they started a small lapidary shop in Globe
Wow.
in the early 40s.
For those of you who don't know, Gene Waddell is one of the stars today in the Indian jewelry business and in turquoise. He has the Lone Mountain Mine. And to me it's interesting, the more stories I hear from people like Nila is how long-term these people have stayed around the turquoise.
Amen.
Why is that, Nila? Is it
think-
magic?
I think it gets you.
Well, it certainly got me a long time ago. And we're very fortunate here at the Silver Sun to have Nila's faith in us to bring us the very finest rock that you're probably ever going to have seen. Now this what'd you say, grandfather? No,
Father-in-law.
father-in-law. Your father-in-law then started stockpiling this rock away, started selling it in Globe.
Yes.
Then where did it go from there?
Well, he would take it up into New Mexico and Santo Domingo, Zuni, and the Navajos, and start trading.
So if we went back to jewelry made in the 40s, by the Zuni, the Navajos, and the Santo Domingos, we would likely find this
You're
rock.
going to find some Morenci, yes.
To your knowledge, did it look the same in the 40s as what it looks like now?
Morenci has been very consistent producing nice blues
And
all along.
what makes this rock stand out beyond all other turquoise?
I think Morenci, the blue of Morenci didn't produce a whole lot of green, even tinges of green, very little. It was always an intense, from a sky blue, soft sky blue, to a very intense blue.
And show me, in this pile, it doesn't look like you have any chalk. Did you throw all the chalk away?
No, there's a little bit of lighter here that is what we consider chalk. And in mining, when Mr. Brown did get the contract, he had to take whatever it was that came out, whether it be chalk, whether it be intense blue. He had to take whatever they hit. And so we have a mix of both. This one's light.
Right.
There you have a vein.
But even this light color doesn't seem
It's-
chalky.
No, that's about the lowest it goes. I mean, there is definitely some very, very chalky stuff, but not a whole lot of it.
And I understand that a larger percentage of this mine remains natural.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little more about that?
Morenci does not stabilize well.
You can't stabilize this rock?
Oh, people have tried to stabilize it. And there is something in it, one of the minerals, whether it is the aluminum, whether it's another metal in it, it over-processes and almost turns purple. It's very, very difficult to
So
stabilize.
that means then that whatever you see here, and when you buy Morenci and you're sure it's Morenci, it's going to be natural.
Pretty much.
There is no stabilized, no reconstituted, there's simply this beautiful blue rock. Okay, that was the 40s, the 50s, and then what happened in the 60s?
Well, the 60s, Mr. Brown opened the first trading post in Albuquerque. And actually his very first trading post was with Doc Edgar, J.W. Edgar,
Really?
in Gallup, New Mexico,
Wow.
in 1946. And it was called the Blue Gem,
My
which is
goodness.
interesting, with Doc Edgar. And then he went to Albuquerque because the Santo Domingos were buying so much and trading so much.
This is in the,
This is in the 50s.
okay.
I mean, there's a process.
Right.
We went through a process. First trading post in Gallup, the second one in Albuquerque, then they had one in Continental Divide, then they ended up back in Gallup in the 60s.
In the 60s. Now, was this the beginning of the Indian jewelry turquoise boom, or did it come later in the 70s?
It started, I would say, in like 68, 69, but then it hit very heavy in 70s.
And what
early
happened to all
70s.
the Morenci? There's a copper mine there, isn't there?
Yes.
And at Morenci, where is Morenci, by the way, Nyla?
Southeast corner of Arizona.
And you're a native of?
I'm a native of Gallup, New Mexico, but I have lived in Arizona for 25 years.
In Safford,
Mm-hmm.
which is about 45 miles, I think, from
Yeah.
the Morenci mine. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the 70s? We had this enormous Indian jewelry boom. So whatever jewelry you have from the 60s and the 70s, if it's Morenci, you're in much better shape of having a collectible than if it comes from some of the other mines, which are altered stone or stabilized. Actually, the stabilization didn't start until, I believe, the 70s, when they had a huge market. And this huge market created the demand all over the United States for this really beautiful blue stone. It's not like it was a new thing. This mine was probably it was an open pit, and it's been proven that many natives, all of the mines in Arizona, were also mined earlier with hammers.
Yes.
Do you ever see it? Do you know anything about that? Do you have any of the hammers, or?
We do, and we've also found some prehistoric beads that were Morenci in that area down there. A lot of Anasazis and different, tribes, historic tribes.
So this is an ancient stone. We're looking at 2,000 years of history in Arizona and New Mexico alone. And then, of course, you go back 6,000, 7,000 years, and the first piece of jewelry that we know of on our planet was a turquoise bracelet. Okay, so we have the rough, we have the beautiful cabs, and then we have the final process here. It goes into high-grade turquoise bracelets. This stone deserves the finest artists. Here we have Eric Begay. Here we have John Begay, who even made the silver ingots to put this in. Here we have Tommy Jackson. So what I do is I buy this fine turquoise from Nyla and then put it into jewelry that we sell to our guests.